Almost 60 years ago, almost every household watched the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and many of them became fans. 25 million people watched Friends every single week because they were fans, because of technology. Technology has completely changed. So what's happened? With television, we've gone from broadcast to streaming, and we can watch only what we want. With radio going away because of playlists, and now everybody has their own music. And with these devices that we all have in our pockets, we've gone to having our own fandom in our pockets. And we're not seeing what other people are doing as much, especially because of the explosion of algorithmic-driven artificial intelligence content. It means that what you're watching and listening to is different from what you're watching and listening to, which is different from what you are watching and listening to. We all have our own things. And this is a challenge because so many of us now aren't paying attention to the news. All of the research shows that we're not paying attention to the same news, which means that we're getting our own news based on our own feeds. And social media is adding to this. It's both fantastic and great, spreading things like K-culture, but it can also be bad because algorithms push people into the things that they love, but also the algorithms can push people into hate and other negative things. In fact, I believe that it was the algorithms that drove the attack on the United States Capitol. But let's not talk about all of that bad stuff. Let's talk about some great stuff. Think about what you are a fan of, what you love. Maybe it's Lee Young-ji. Maybe it's another band. Maybe it's a certain movie. Maybe it's a sport that you love to play. Maybe this one. Or maybe a sports team that you love. I've found that people are fans of almost anything. I even found a U.S. government agency that has 100 million fans. A government agency with millions of fans. Did you guess who it was? It's NASA. NASA has millions of fans, 96 million followers on their Instagram, NASA. So let's look at some of the ways that artists build fans. And one of the most interesting to me are artists and their management teams who understand that fans want to dig in deep to the things that they love. So here's something super cool about fandom is branching from one form of media into another form of media. And I love this example for two reasons. This is a new graphic novel which will be published in January, just a couple of months from now. And I love this for two reasons. Here are the two reasons. Number one, it's the first graphic novel originally sanctioned by a K-pop band. This is NCT 127. And that K-pop band, in collaboration with their management team, the band, the record label, and Z2 Comics, have created something new, a graphic novel, something that fans are super excited about. So that was the first thing that's exciting about it. The second thing that's exciting about it is my daughter wrote it. My daughter wrote this graphic novel. It's coming out in January. I'm proud of her for doing this. And when it was announced a couple of months ago, it kind of blew up social media because all NCT 127 fans are like, oh my gosh, a graphic novel, how cool is that? And then also mass media picked up on it, and it was super great. So Here's something for you artists and managers in the room. Super important. About fandom. Once you put your art out into the world, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to your fans. And so many people miss that. They think they can control the fandom. You can't. You put it out, you see what happens, you let the fans take over. And fans love to share, don't they? I love to share photos of myself at a Grateful Dead concert. Here's yet another Grateful Dead concert that I went to. I know, kind of crazy, 98 times. I will have seen 100 shows by next year. And how about Harry Potter? Do we have Harry Potter fans? Raise your hand if you're a Harry Potter fan, right? Harry Potter, how cool is that? So those of you Harry Potter fans will recognize this, the Hogwarts Express. I took this photograph myself. Let me tell you what I had to do to take this photograph. I had to go to Scotland. I had to then rent a car and drive to the middle of nowhere in Scotland. And then I had to climb a part of a mountain in the cold and in the rain. And then I had to, this train only comes twice a day. I had to wait for it to come. And then as it blows the smoke at a perfect time, I snapped the picture. And I got the picture because I'm a fan. But here's the thing. Look at all of the other people doing it. Everybody's got their phone out. Nobody's watching the train. The poor Hogwarts Express going by, and nobody's looking at it. We love taking those photos, don't we? I mentioned my daughter, Reiko. She's a huge Stray Kids fan. She's also who wrote the graphic novel for NCT 127. She's actually an emergency doctor. That's her real job. But she's a K-pop fan, loves it, and she writes books. And then this is her photographs. She's taking photographs at a Stray Kids show in New York City and putting it out. Fans love to share. So as an artist or management, figure out how you can get your fans to share. Because fandom is built on the experience of fans, not just limited to what artists say and do. That's so super cool about this idea of fandom is the more you can facilitate sharing, how can you get people to share with the world? How can you get that experience that people will absolutely love to share? That helps you to grow fans like crazy. Because we love it. We love to share. We'll even climb mountains in Scotland to share that perfect photograph. And then once you have those fans, you can use that, call it an asset, if you will, to be able to promote values. A great way of taking that fandom and helping to change the world. And I'm going to share with you 3 examples of this idea of changing the world with fandom. The first idea is an organization called Headcount. Headcount is based in the United States, and it registers young people to vote. Very, very important for democracy to have people who want to vote. And many people who are young don't want to vote. So Headcount goes to music shows, and they set up booths, and they encourage people to vote. And they get them to sign up to get their voter registration. And this is also interesting because over 100 artists promote the idea of voting on their social media. So what that means is that if the artist that you love is sharing, hey, it's time to register to vote, and then you see a booth at the concert that you're going to, that becomes super exciting to you, and then you might register to vote as well. And what I love about this idea of headcount, as those people are sharing, is that since they were founded, they've registered 1.25 million Americans to vote. That's literally changing my country, because those young people voting are voting in ways that they're looking at the world of the future, not the world of the old people like me of the past. Head count, the idea of democracy in action through fandom. My second example, what used to be called the Harry Potter Alliance is now called Fandom Forward. They're focused on the idea of equality and diversity, and they're about creating action around justice. And so they've taken the Harry Potter fandom, many of you raised your hands as Harry Potter fans, and applied it to equality and justice. A great way to take that fan base and push that fan base forward. And then my final example of this idea of cultural values from fandom and changing the world through fandom is an organization called Reverb. And what they do is they're focused on climate change. And in particular, what they do is they go to music concerts and they encourage people to save the planet. And one way that they save the planet is by using refillable water bottles rather than disposable water bottles. And so at a Grateful Dead concert, I might see a bottle like this, and they've saved lots and lots and lots of bottles from being made and then helping them to not destroy the environment as people use them. My name is David Meerman Scott, and this has been Popular Culture from MASH to Niche Fandom. Thank you all so much.